going on? Matt Morris, leadwithmatt.com, just out of the gym and not really feeling like doing a live today. Wasn't really feeling like going to the gym today. In fact, I mixed up a little pre-workout at the house to force me to actually go. So as you pop on, let me know where you're tuning in from. Yeah, a strategy whenever I don't want to go to the gym, I try and get some leverage on myself. Take a little pre-workout and I waste it if I don't go. So listen, had interesting weekend and definitely not one of the best weekends I've had. I won't go through all the details, but you know what, things happen, and it reminded me of the quote that I put here. You know, God doesn't save you from trouble, he saves you in trouble. And you could relate that to a lot of different things. You know, God doesn't save you from pain, but he will save you in pain. He doesn't save you from failure, but he saves you in failure. God doesn't save you from heartache, but he will save you in heartache. And wow, Christy, man, that's a big thing. Feel for you. Have had to make a couple of transitions in my life, and never a big thing. And you know, I think our life, we're always transitioning, and sometimes the transition can be a very, very tough thing. It can be a painful thing. And as I deal with things, I have to be grateful for dealing with those, because number one, it makes me a better person. And number two, if you haven't dealt with pain, pretty hard to help others deal with pain. If you haven't been through struggle, it's tough to deal with others, to help them get through struggle. You know, in network marketing, one of the reasons why I'm able to help so many people get out of failure is because I spent 5 years in failure. So it gives you an amazing reference. And I think one of the biggest blessings that we have in life is the trouble, is the pain, is the failure, is the heartache, because it's what raises our consciousness. If you have not felt sadness, it's tough to experience joy. If you haven't experienced darkness, it's tough to appreciate the light. If you haven't experienced failure, it's tough to appreciate success. And so I'm grateful I spent so many years in failure, because it definitely has allowed me to appreciate success, and have had lots of roller coaster experiences. I should write a book just on the roller coaster of life. There's a book title. Any of you want to write a book before I write that one? So here's the challenge we go through is we expect there not to be challenges. We expect there not to be trouble. We expect there not to be pain. And, I'll just give you a belief that has served me. Is this belief true? I don't know. I can't tell you my belief's true. All I can tell you is it's a belief that serves me. In fact, a lot of the beliefs we have, we just make up. There may not be any evidence behind the belief, but if the belief serves us, I think it gives us a lot of power. And the belief that I have adopted over the years is that it's by design. God puts it in our life on purpose. And I'm not saying that saves you from the emotional challenges. It definitely doesn't save you from the emotional challenges. So I'm not saying it's not wrong to be sad. It's not wrong to be upset. It's not wrong to have any of those negative feelings. I think it's wrong to stay there. And getting out of the challenge is often the biggest challenge, is getting out of it. And so if you can adopt some beliefs that will empower you, then it helps you through the process. And I'll just give you one. Okay. One of those is that whatever the experience that we go through is God's plan. It's God's design for our soul. Okay. So whatever journey you've been on, good or bad, it's God's design to build your soul, to make you into the person that he ultimately wants you to be. So hopefully that little belief can help you. If you're going through a challenge, it's by design. And if you can look at the challenge and be grateful for the challenge, because it gives you points of reference, it gives you experiences that will serve you in later parts of your life. I can tell you, when I went through a business failure and I ended up $750,000 in debt, the debt was not my challenge. Most people would say, oh my God, $750,000 in debt, that must have crushed you. The crushing part of that wasn't the debt. The crushing part of that was I had associated my identity to the company. I was the founder and CEO of this company. I was a young success story. I was someone to be admired. I had associated my identity to that. So rather than being, looking at my soul and saying, you are your soul, I identified with the position that I had as if that was who I really was. Well, the reality, looking back at it, I realized my position was never who I was. The person that I was that higher power. It was that soul who could look above it and look down and say, all right, you are serving this role as founder and CEO. You are serving this role as a young success story. And so when my business came crashing down, the challenge was my identity came crashing down. And I would go to the bar in the middle of the afternoon in some cases, and I'd drink 2 double vodkas to get me through the day, because I didn't understand the principle that I'm talking about now is being, I would say I'm grateful for the pain, but I wasn't soulful enough to take on the pain, understanding that it was a massive blessing. And so I would numb out. And yesterday I wanted to numb out. I wanted to find a bottle of vodka and numb the pain. And because I've changed my philosophy over the years, I decided to experience it and to go through the process. And I had a similar experience in business a year ago or so. Had a major challenge in business, and because I had the reference of the $750,000 in debt, I had the blessing rather of $750,000 in the past. I had the blessing of having my business come crashing down. I had the blessing of having my identity crumble. Whenever I went through a challenge last year, I had that blessing, that reference to remember, and I was able to get through the challenge without having to numb out. And I look back at the incredible challenge that I had, the incredible depression, the anxiety that I felt. I had to borrow someone's Xanax to get through a couple days. Such a blessing, because going through that had me realize I can get through so much more. So whatever the challenge you're going through, realize it's going to make you so much more powerful getting through the next challenge. And so next time you're going through the challenge, I want you to challenge yourself not to numb out. I want you to challenge yourself to take it on and not just identify with your conscious mind that's experiencing these challenges, but operate as your higher self, operate as your soul, looking down at yourself, watching yourself as if you're watching yourself in a movie, experiencing these things, these blessings, and watch yourself go through them. And so that's my prayer for you. Elevate yourself when you go through the challenge. Realize that you are not your position. You are not your things. You are a much more powerful being. And going through those challenges, as overwhelming as they may be, are an incredible blessing. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Go make life an adventure.